Freehub damaged. Okay, let's remove the cassette and see. Okay, it's off. Now this tool fit. This is Unior's Hub Genie 11. Okay, tighten it. And now let's see if it will let us pull this out. Here it is. It was very stubborn, and I will put some anti-seize or mounting paste before I reinstall it. Now let's see if I can pull this out without any damage. Okay, and it went out along with some loose ball bearings. Wonderful. We have some broken bearing balls. Okay, this is completely disintegrated. Okay, it's an electric bicycle with a lot of torque. Freehub that's apparently not built for that kind of cycling. They don't make them durable anymore. See these three small, that makes no sense. They should make just two of them and have the notches be asymmetrical, so that you have more than the number of notches, angles of engagement. So you double the, if you move just by half a step the matching notches, you can keep the two, just the two of these, one on the one side, one exactly on the other side. But if you just mismatch the steps of the grooves, then either one or the other will catch and make it like a half step between adjacent grooves on the hub's body. And you should make stronger spring, and these should be of a bit stronger, thicker, bigger. So instead of three small ones, two big ones are better, because only one carries all the load at any given moment because of the material's elastic deformation. So this is poor engineering and very good marketing. I know that DT Swiss makes like 20 or more small teeth that bite into each other, but without preload, only one of those is carrying load at any given time. So it's all, if you pardon my French bullshit marketing. Try to get those 14.96, so that's 15 nominal. This is what it looks like. This is what we were pulling with. Look, and here it is, finally out. So this is the rant part. I've already made a video discussing the downsides of DT Swiss hub design, And here we have a similar problem. I'm just trying to look where I put the parts. Yesterday it was a very long day. So this is the axle that we have, and it has the screws on the left hand side so that you can screw the cup on the left hand side, and this is where the bearing that holds the hub sits. This is the right hand side bearing, and this is the left hand side bearing. So we have this length plus the end cap of the axle completely unsupported by anything, and that makes for a design that's not very durable. These hubs are sold for mountain bikes where you'll be jumping off heights, riding off-road, and I also think that the fatigue braking, I've explained in that video, I'll just put a link to it, can also start, and I would expect these to break here, even though Shimano did make some sort of taper, at least in this section. But I'm not sure how well that fares in practice. I haven't got much experience with these hubs, but that looks like a potential downside, especially since it's made of aluminum, not steel, so not that strong. It's big diameter, but not that strong. Another thing that I don't like is that the bearings just, oh, these one are okay, okay, my bad. That part is, so I thought that the bearings would just slide, but they don't. They do have some sort of friction, some sort of preload. That is good. So the old bearings were really, this is the Freehub, and its bearings were totally destroyed. We took shots of that. The bearing balls were cut in half, and it was really an awful sight. And so for the Freehubs, when you need to remove the Freehub, you need to first pull out this little plug at the end of the right hand side, and for that I have a tool like this. This is called Unior Hub Genie. This is the model 1758/4, but you screw it in and tighten it so that it expands, and then you can use it as a lever. If you don't have that, maybe you can use something like this to hold it in a vise and then pull the hub. Or if you don't have that, use some pliers with great caution to not stretch or damage this too much. It's made of steel, but still you don't need to burr it and damage it unless you really have to. So that is the first time you start disassembling it, by pulling this off the axle, and then you can just remove the Freehub. And when you reinstall the Freehub, you need to twist it in this direction so that these are pulled in, and so that you can slide it in, and then they will get back out and lock into the hub's body. And it helps to clean and lubricate these, and these are held on by this notch. I hope you can see it in the camera. So that notch goes underneath the spring, and they are like that. Of course, you should also pay attention to the direction. This is where there is a groove, deeper one, and that's where the deep end of this thingy goes, and the sharp end goes up top to get caught and to engage. So that's how you install them, and they go following each other. Of course, they will not lock when you're back pedaling, and then when you pedal they will catch onto the splines of the hub and engage, lock it. So to lubricate this, use some light grease. I like Shimano internal gear grease. Just a second. This works okay. It's a very soft grease, so use it. I use just a little bit. Use a brush that is silicone, sold in makeup stores, and I can apply it and wipe off any excess so that it doesn't stick. So that's for lubrication of that mechanism before you assemble it. And it has this little, like a sleeve plastic cover that is supposed to make it a bit more difficult for any sand or dust to get into the mechanism once it's all assembled. So I will start by locking it in place in case it has moved. So that's one of the things that we need to do in order to assemble this hub. Let's see. I think it will work easier if I go from this side to lock it in place. No, my bad. Okay. So from this side it is I need to press these in to let it slide, and there is a sort of a limit, a groove where it slides into and is sort of locked in place. So you could see that I could easily remove it, but locking it in place takes a bit of force, and now here it is, so it can spin smoothly. That's one thing. Should I lubricate that a little bit at least? I think it would be a good idea to put some grease there, because it might slide, it might turn, and so for the things that slide and turn, even if it's not generally regularly expected to do so, I prefer to just put at least a little bit of grease. So mounting paste is good for stuff that sticks together and generally does not move, and for the other stuff grease is a good option. This is Motorex bike grease or Grease 2000, depending on how they market it in your area, and it is neutral to plastics and most rubbers, so I am very comfortable in using it with most modern bicycles that have so many plastic parts and rubber parts. So there I've put some grease, and now I will try to lock this back into place and hopefully not break it now. So a little bit of patience, and here it is. It's locked in place, looks nicely. I think I put it the correct way, with this smoother edge on the outside of the hub and this flat part on the inside. But if I made a mistake, we will know by the time I've assembled it, and I will comment it in the video. So we have this, but now we need to install the bearings. The bearings are installed. You have one bearing here, then you have this plastic sleeve and the under bearing here. There are grooves that limit how deep bearing can get in on both sides, and when you get it pressed all the way in, this should stick in the middle and not be very tight based on the Shimano's manual, so you should be able to spin this inside by hand. It should not be completely loose, but it should be in between the bearings. So I will start by installing the bearing at the back, and for that we will use the bearing press. Let's try to get that here. Okay. I've already made a video about this bearing press, so that is what we will be using, and I wrote down the bearing dimensions. So this is for the outer Freehub bearing, the smaller one that goes outwards, most outwards. This is for the inner 26 by 17 by 5, the thickness in millimeters all. So outer, inner and thickness diameters. I wrote it, standard bearings are marked in the opposite direction, so first goes the inner thickness, inner diameter for the shaft, and then the outer diameter. So I'm sure that people who work with bearings will correct me now. And these are for the hub, the same dimensions. 70 millimeter is the shaft diameter, 30 millimeter is the outer diameter, and 7 millimeters is the thickness. And this was available in Serbia, which is awesome and not always the case. So first we go with the 26 millimeter thicker one, and mind you, I measured the completely destroyed bearings, what I had left, and so it is not impossible that I made some mistake, and we will see if that is the case. So this is the outer bearing, and let's see if we are anywhere close. Yes, it looks like it's a good fit for this, and that should be the first one we install. Before I install it, I will put some anti-seize paste on the bearing outer groove where it sits, so that it doesn't get stuck, and so that whoever disassembles this hub years down the line can be very happy and wish to buy me a beer instead of cursing me. So it will probably be me, but nonetheless. So we need the 17 millimeter on the inside, and we have 26 millimeters on the outside. If my, no, yes, I remembered. So this is what we will use to drive it inside to install it. Okay, looks like a good fit. Now we need to use some force. Use the force, look. I already made a video about the problems with this tool, so I will not be bothering you with that, but this is a BikeGremlin improved, modified tool that should work fine. And let's see, I need something like this. On the outside, yes, it looks okay. Let's see if it will fit inside. Great, awesome. Use that as a guide. And now let's spin this baby. I won't be cutting this out of the video. This is the meditative section. Okay, I need to make myself a shorter for these kinds of projects. Okay, now I need a 17 millimeter wrench, probably. No, it's 13 probably then. My bad. Yes, it is 13. Okay, so I'm going to now start pressing this bearing in, and I will feel the tool having some resistance, and then that will let me know that I've installed it properly. And yes, you can how do I say, DIY these tools yourself. It should not be too complicated or too expensive. So okay, here it's bottomed out. I didn't use too much torque, just enough to feel it gaining tension, and that's one bearing installed. Now I need to remove this part again and install the second bearing. This is safer for me. Okay, that's ready. Now let's take the smaller bearing here. It seems like it could be a good fit. Yeah, might just do the job, but we will see. So here we have the 15 millimeter inner diameter and 24 millimeter outer diameter. And let's see, I have this Unior bearing press set is awesome because it covers all the bicycle bearings that I've seen so far. Talking about the cartridge bearings, the same situation. Let's see how we will fare with this one. It's going in. It's going in. Okay, now I feel it's bottomed out. I will now try to unscrew this and to double check. What I'm curious about is two things. First, whether this bearing is on the surface not going. This bearing press, I want it to be higher than the splines. If that were not the case, I would put another spacer so that I know this hasn't bottomed out against the Freehub shell, but in fact the bearing has bottomed out where it's supposed to sit. And this looks like it's very close, but it seems like it's the latter, that I've just installed the bearing properly, but we'll double check, we'll see how it sits there and what it looks like. Okay, it looks okay. The inner sleeve is moving easily. It's not pressed, but it's not rocking. This looks like it's ideal. I would not touch this any further. That looks okay. So
down the street with your red lips and funky beat, you better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.